Every year I work with people with tinnitus who have become suicidal, and one of the main things that gets them into this state is the belief that there's nothing they can do about tinnitus. So, first of all, if you are feeling suicidal and you feel like your has become unmanageable, I really encourage you to go and see your doctor and to get as much support as you can. The doctor may be able to prescribe medication which can take the edge off, which can be a godsend for helping things become manageable during times of crisis. And in some countries in the world, your doctor may be able to forward you on to counseling or psychotherapy, which can be invaluable support during times where you have a sense of having no way out. I really do recommend finding some body-based practice to help you settle your nervous system. Craniosacral therapy worked very, very well for me, but there are many other forms of body-based therapy that can be incredibly helpful, and most of them can really help calm and settle the buzzy quality in your nervous system. What you're looking for is a sense of smooth, calm, clarity, peace and quiet, that all the twitter in the head tends to back right off when you're having body work, and having regular support, so going once a week at least, can be incredibly helpful for bringing you back into a more manageable state. What I'd like to impress upon people is that if you say that there's no cure for tinnitus, and I'm speaking to health practitioners here, that this is really very unhelpful. It's not true. When a person's nervous system settles, then tinnitus tends to back off. We need to be really careful of putting negative messages out there into the field and people picking up on them, because when we're feeling very vulnerable, when we're in a state of hyper anxiety, messages can be very impacting, and a very simple, laid back, uninvolved 5-minute consultation with somebody saying, oh, there's nothing you can do about it, just learn to live with it, can have devastating consequences. I've been through it myself. And if you don't know how to help people with tinnitus, it's much better to say, instead of saying there's nothing that can help you, it'd be much more helpful to say, I think if you get help psychologically or help with your nervous system to settle, so body-based therapies, that could help you find things much more manageable. And also medication can take the edge off. Because if you say there's nothing you can do about it, you're potentially condemning somebody to a lifetime of believing they have this Chinese water torture that they can't get out of, which is nonsense. It's really, really not helpful. So my advice to people who are suicidal with tinnitus to get support, get therapy. There are some very, very good tinnitus forums around where you can find people who have learnt a lot about tinnitus and who've started to work on themselves. And for a period of time, this can be really helpful. But also a word of caution about tinnitus forums as well. As much as it's wonderful to get help and support for tinnitus, what you don't want to be doing is hanging around in groups of people who are stuck and have a sense of pervading doom and gloom. It's great to get support, but then, as soon as you're ready, I would get help and start working on yourself and start moving on and letting go. It's no good for people to sit around moaning and groaning and keeping each other stuck in negativity. That's very unhelpful. This is something that needs to be addressed in tinnitus forums. I'm all for tinnitus forums and they can be incredibly helpful, but at some stage we need to take responsibility and start working on ourselves, start getting help, start getting our system to settle, and start getting better. So my advice is to see your doctor, get medical support. If you can, find a psychotherapist so you have weekly support. This can be incredibly helpful. Instead of holding all the problems and difficulties yourself, you open up and you share them with somebody else, and together you can help digest, process, and release all the things that you're carrying inside. And particularly helpful is hands-on body-based practice. So if you look up craniosacral therapy or any other body-based practice, you look up the North American Craniosacral Therapy Association or the Craniosacral Therapy Association of the UK or Australia, you can find an association near you, and then you'll get a list of all the registered, fully qualified and insured practitioners that can help you. And when you start getting better, maybe you can start informing your doctor about how you got better, and maybe help them start to signpost people towards those who can help. So, for example, the psychological route, where people can promote and get into therapies, that can be very, very helpful to get behind the scenes and seeing what's going on in the mindset. Our minds can be very responsible for stressing ourselves out. Or the body-based therapeutic route. These two routes, I think, are incredibly helpful for tinnitus. And hopefully, sooner or later, medical research will bring up very, very helpful areas where tinnitus becomes more immediately treatable by medication and specific interventions. But until that happens, we need to work and rely on things that do work and help people already with tinnitus.